whose remains were found under the floor of Notre Dame. Investigators identified one of the bodies. The famous Notre Dame Cathedral in Paris was partially destroyed by fire. The fire broke out in April 2019. The maintenance works carried out after the fire contributed to the discovery of two mysterious sarcophagi under the floor of the cathedral. Scientists managed to partially determine who was buried in them. In April 2019, the 850-year-old Notre Dame Cathedral, one of the most symbolic and most visited monuments in Paris, went up in flames. Firefighters quickly managed to put out the fire, but the fire did not cause much damage. Last year, before the construction of more than 30 meters high scaffolding, which was planned to be erected in order to renovate the monument and its spire, the work was carried out by archaeologists. Under the floor, they discovered two lead sarcophagi. Initially, researchers speculated that they could hide the bodies of high church officials, probably from the 14th century. The sarcophagi were taken to the University of Toulouse, where they were recently opened. Scientists with the necessary tools analyzed the remains found in lead coffins and discovered the identity of one deceased. Who was the second? This we can only guess at present. At the outset, it should be noted that under French law, any human remains found in coffins or sarcophagi do not become archaeological finds. Therefore, they should still be treated with due respect. And these principles were also followed by the archaeological team conducting work on the remains found in Notre Dame Cathedral. Determining the identity of the first buried person turned out to be extremely easy. On one of the sarcophagi there was a bronze plate informing that Antoine de la Porte was buried here. He was a well-known and respected figure in the times in which he lived. It is known about him, for example, that he once supported the renovation of the cathedral. There is a painting of him in the Louvre. He died in 1710 at the age of 83, and at the time of his death his body was in quite good condition. This even applies to his teeth, which at his age was quite an achievement. It also appears, which was quite rare in those days, that de la Porte took good care of them and cleaned them regularly. Interestingly, the only visible sign of any disease comes down to one of his feet, specifically his big toe. It seems that the priest was suffering from gout. This, rich man's disease, or disease of kings, as it is sometimes referred to, can be brought on by excess meat in the diet and by alcohol abuse. On the other hand, it is much more difficult for archaeologists to determine who the second discovered remains belong to, although due to the way in which he was buried, it is believed that he was probably a nobleman. This is evidenced by the way in which his chest was opened in order to embalm the corpse. At that time, it was a fairly common practice, used for burials of people of noble birth. No direct clues to his identity have been found on his sarcophagus. However, the appearance of the bones seems to indicate that he probably spent quite a large part of his life in the saddle, which is why the researchers gave him the nickname, Le Cavalier, a cavalryman. It is estimated that this mysterious nobleman died at the age of 25 to 40. An examination of his corpse revealed that he was not in good health at the time of his death. Most of his teeth were missing from his skull, and his bones showed signs of trauma. One researcher even hypothesizes that he may have died of meningitis, a complication of tuberculosis. Especially in his case, it will be necessary to carry out additional studies, which are planned. Scientists want to determine more precisely how the people buried in the cathedral lived, what they ate, what they suffered from and where they came from.